This next module is going to focus on images and animation. So here's the agenda. With regard to images, there are a couple ways of doing this. You could insert them from within the application itself, or you could go online and download royalty-free images. So we'll look at both methods. Once they're in your slideshow, we'll talk about resizing and repositioning them within the slides. We'll get right into animation after that, and one thing to note is you can animate both bullet points and the images you find or insert into your slideshow. Let's begin by creating a brand new blank presentation. Now you could either hit File New, but I like keyboard shortcuts, so I'm just going to hit the Control N on my keyboard to create a brand new PowerPoint presentation. From here, let's just add in a little bit of content here. I'll just add. We're ready for our second slide. So if you look at the home ribbon under the slides group, just hit the new slide button, and just like that you get a second slide. Let's just enter in a quick title here. We'll just call it the World of Business, and then let's insert an appropriate picture. So as I mentioned, there are a couple of ways of doing this. Let's get into the first method. If you click on the insert ribbon, you'll see that there are several options here. We're going to go first with online pictures. And this actually brings up a bunch of different categories, but you could try typing in a keyword, and I'll just put in business for now. Hit the enter key and you'll see a bunch of these pictures will appear. You just select one. For now, let's go with this. I'm just going to click here, hit insert, and it's that easy. There's the image. Now let's discuss resizing and repositioning. First of all, you'll get automatically in the newer versions of PowerPoint the design ideas panel. You could actually see it. It tries to suggest different design options. I'm going to close this for now. We'll talk about that later. We're going to start from scratch. So if you want to reposition this, I always recommend resizing first. Most of the time when an image is inserted into PowerPoint, it's not the right size. You're going to have to resize it at some point. So to do that, simply click once on the image and that activates these resizing handles. I always recommend that if you're going to change the size of an image, work with the corners, because this will adjust both the height and width without distorting the image. Notice if I try resizing the width from this left side, let's say I want it narrower, you see how it distorts the image? What if I wanted it bigger? Again, you get a bit of stretch here. And the same applies with adjusting the height. You will distort the image this way. So to avoid that, work with the corners. I'm going to go with this, how about this bottom right corner? You'll see that when I'm on top of that resizing handle, this two-way directional arrow appears on any one of the corners. And if I want to make this smaller, I'm just going to click and drag it up into the left, and you'll see it preserves the proportions of the image without distorting it. I can go to any corner and adjust. So by doing this, I'm adjusting the height and width simultaneously without affecting or distorting the image itself, preserving its original dimensions. So now that I've made it smaller, I'm just going to click in the middle and drag it. So to reposition an image, you have to place your pointer somewhere inside of it versus on the resizing handles. See that? And by clicking and dragging it this way, you can move the picture around. Let's now talk about the second method, and that's actually going out on the internet to find images. One thing to keep in mind when doing this is you want to focus in on royalty-free images. These are images that have no copyright protections. So don't just Google an image, find it online, and then paste it into your slideshow. You want to make sure it is royalty free. Now, one of the best websites for that, and here's one that I use quite a bit, it's called Pixabay, Pixabay.com. You'll see that these are free images, they're royalty free. And all you have to do is, again, type in a keyword. So I'll enter the word business just as we did earlier. I'll hit enter. And look at all of these nice pictures and graphics that you have access to. So one thing to keep in mind, I'm just going to select one for now. How about this one? So you just click on the image you like, and you'll be given the option to download it. So I'll click on the free download button. Now here's what you want to remember. Any of the high resolution images, so in this case the last two, they're really large too. This is like 0.5 meg and this is 3.5 megabytes. These are not free. For the images that are free, you'll have to select one of the lower resolution images. So I'm just going to pick the 640 by 426. It'll be smaller, but for our purposes, it doesn't matter. It'll look great on your slides. So I'm just going to select that option, hit download, and if you're using Chrome, you'll see that the downloaded file will appear to the bottom left corner of your screen. From here, if you click on it to open, it'll look like this. You could then download it. So if you click here on the ellipse button, you could save as, and I will just save this into a folder on my hard drive, and I'm just going to call this pad and paper for now, and just hit save. Okay, I'll close this. I'll go back to PowerPoint, and once it's on your hard drive, now all you have to do is insert the image this way. So if I go to the insert ribbon and I select pictures, it'll go straight to your hard drive, and then you can go to the folder that you saved it in. For me, I went into pictures and I put it under saved pictures, and there's pad and paper. See that? Select it, hit insert, and there it is. It looks great. You don't need the ultra high resolution. It's fine for our needs. And just like the other image, if you click on it, you can resize it. I always use the corners. And if you place your pointer in the middle of the image, you can move it around, just like that. Inserting images is pretty straightforward, and there are two methods that I tend to use. Now, on the agenda, we talked about animating images as well as animating bullet points. So let's create another slide right now, and I'm just going to choose, let's just put in business projects up here, and then I'll just add a few bullet points. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to animate both bullet points and images. Let's start with the bullet points since we're already on this slide. Again, I will remove the design ideas for now, and let's start animating our bullet points. So as you can see, I have just clicked on that first bullet point. You'll see my blinking cursor right there. Now, if I go to the animations ribbon, you'll see right away there are a lot of animations that are offered right off the bat at the top. If you want to see more, hit the more button, and you'll see entrance, emphasis, exit, all the different options that you have. For now, we're going to stick with the entrance category or options here. This simply controls how the text or bullets will enter the slide. Fly in is very popular, so I'm just going to click on this for now, and you'll see the effect. It'll give you a little preview. See how it flies in? Now, as far as the options, this came in from the bottom, and then it populated the placeholder. But if you go to effect options, you could have this fly in from, let's say, from the right. Or from the top left. So it's pretty straightforward. Animating bullet points, all you have to do, remember, is to click somewhere inside the placeholder. I just like to select that first bullet point. It really doesn't matter. And then select one of these options. Let's try float in. It's a little bit more dramatic. It's a little slower. And again, these options can change. Let's have it float down. So keep that in mind. Animating bullets is just a two-step process. Click somewhere in the placeholder, go to the animations ribbon, and then select one of the effects. Now, how do you animate pictures? I'm going to go back to the second slide, and it's very similar. All you have to do is select the image first, go to the animations ribbon, and then select the effect, just like you did before. I'm going to go ahead and select fly in like we did earlier, and look at that. What if I wanted this to fly in from the bottom left? All right, let's change the effect options. See that? Let's reposition this over here, and let's have this one fly in from the top right. So again, step 1, select the image. Step 2, under the animations ribbon, fly in, and we'll just change the effect to come in from the top right. Just for review, let's resize these images. Click on it, hit one of the resizing handles. Let's make this one larger as well. And then let's launch a slideshow, and you'll see what it looks like when we run the animations. So both bullet points and images can be animated. So to summarize your learning, we began by learning how to add images to your presentation. And this was a 4-step process, starting with going to that insert ribbon, clicking on the online pictures tool, which brought up a dialog box showing you a number of pictures to choose from. Here we did a search. You would key in or enter a word of the picture that you're looking for, and then simply clicking on the image, which would then insert it into the slide. With regard to animation, we looked at animating your bullets, and that was a 3-step process, starting with clicking on the bullet point in that placeholder. Again, you don't have to select all bullets, just one of them. Going to that animations ribbon and then choosing an effect from that animation group. And it was very similar to the animation of pictures or images. You would begin by clicking on the picture, going to that animations ribbon, and finally selecting an effect from the animation group.